going to be talking about why your email sequence in account-based business-to-business marketing probably sucks. Now, if you're doing e-commerce marketing and maybe you're selling a solution for $30 a month or something like that, discretionary spending for your ICP, this is not the video for you. This is about account-based marketing. Your deal size is probably going to be somewhere in the neighborhood of $20,000 to $1 million, somewhere in there, maybe in the middle, $200,000, $300,000, something like that. And your email sequence is probably over a time period of maybe around 12 weeks or 5 weeks, something like that. Your first email is probably a personalized hook where you pretend to know me and you may be recognizing some of my pain points. Your call to action is going to be something like, hey, do you have time for a 10-minute phone call to jump on a demo or talk about how our solution can help you out, that type of thing. So you're asking for business in that first email. Your second email, you may be blowing your own horn again, talking about maybe a case study that you did with one of my competitors. And your CTA is going to be something like, hey, we could be getting these results for you. But your third email, it may have occurred to you to actually send me something useful, like a proprietary industry report or a useful checklist or some customer tips. Your CTA might be a reverse psychology thing at this point. Something like, no need to reply, hope you enjoy this. The fourth email, you might be attempting to understand the friction point as to what is delaying my response and attempting to resolve it. Hey, our solution is easy to implement and we're very cost effective, that type of thing. Your CTA is probably still asking for business. Hey, would it make sense to jump on a 5-minute call? Your fifth email is the stupidest one in the sequence, and I hope you're never doing this. The fake breakup email is something like, well, it looks like our solution isn't going to work out for you at this time, so we'll take you off our list. Your CTA might be something like, well, if things change, here's a link to my calendar. There are a plethora of reasons as to why this is stupid and bad for business and bad for your brand, but I'm just going to focus on 3 of them right now. Number 1, it destroys future revenue. You don't get to determine when your buyer group is going to buy from you, and the buyer group is a complex process that takes time. Also, buyer group dynamics are complex, and you don't have control over that either. B2B sales cycles are longer than 12 weeks, or what a typical sequence here would be. The typical average time that's been sort of documented right now for business-to-business purchases is about 211 days. So if you send an email out, like a breakup email, think of how dumb that is and how immature that is as to what you're saying. What you're saying to your prospect is, well, if you don't want to spend money with us in our time frame, I guess we're not going to do business with you. Keep in mind that 95% of your prospects are not ready to do business with you at any given time. Why would you kill your own future opportunities to the account that you are trying to influence? The number 2 reason why sending out email sequences is bad for your brand is because it destroys your attractiveness. You're asking for business over and over again, and that makes you look desperate. And if you're sending out just plain text emails, maybe you're even sending them out from a different URL than your company, which you should never do. But you're just sending out text emails without your branding on it or any interesting graphics or anything visually interesting for your prospect to engage in. It also wreaks havoc with the perception of your value if you're asking for business over and over again. You should be sending out 4 or 5 email sequences with a valuable brand experience and a company banner across the top, interesting graphics, or whatever that is enjoyable for your prospects to engage in at least 4 or 5 times before you send the ask for business email and you're requesting some time for a demo or a meeting. The third reason to not do a typical email sequence is that it destroys your credibility. People do business with companies that they trust. It takes time to build trust, and your prospects need to spend time with your brand in order to get to trust you. And remember, you are trying to build trust with the entire buyer group of influencers, probably 4 to 6 people, not just a single ICP who you mistakenly think might be the sole person who decides whether the deal happens or not. Another thing about email sequences I mentioned a little bit about earlier is sending emails without any brand identification or not even having your company URL on there and sending from a separate URL because you're afraid you don't want your company URL to get blacklisted. Maybe you're sending out 50,000 emails a day. Sending out from burner URLs or something like that. Don't do that, because if an IT director has a look at what you're doing, your emails are going to get flagged as shady. And then your actual company URL, once they find out what that is, will get banned from all international servers. And you will completely burn your opportunities from ever getting business with that account. So your non-branded email sequence thing that you think is great because you're sending out 50,000 of them a day and maybe you're getting a 3% response and then a 0.01 response, or your deal or whatever is happening there, don't do this. It's stupid, it's bad for business, and it's bad for your brand. What you should be doing is building a brand ecosystem for your prospects to engage in and enjoy. How do you know they will enjoy it? Because you did your buyer group homework and your messaging homework. Now, this campaign does not stop at 12 weeks. You're still going to have your email list, and it's great if you can get high intent, ICP, that type of personalization. So you still want to target the job titles that you're going after and the person who can be the champion within your buyer group, who's going to experience the most benefit from your solution. So you are going to still send out those 5 emails, in this case 6, but every single one of them is going to be something valuable. Your first one is a blog of maybe to resolve the top pain points that has to do with that ICP within their industry. Number 2 could be your newsletter that has your hero story in it, which could be a link to your blog or to an article or some other content that you have, and 4 or 5 other items that you have curated from around the web that are relevant within that person's industry. And now I want to talk about automation really quickly here. You can automate some of this, but be very careful about automated sequences. You don't want to automate a 12-week sequence or even a 2-week sequence, because of what is happening in the marketplace. A lot of things happen from week to week with distribution channels and inflation and costs, and all kinds of things happen within different industries. And the content that you send out, you want to reflect that you know what's going on and that your solutions are a good match for what is happening. The third item you send out might be a link to a survey report that has an unlocked PDF. So this might be a PDF that's valuable, and maybe you use it in your social channels with a landing page to get email address. It might be behind a paywall, or might be locked, and let your prospect know, hey, this is an unlocked survey that we did. We typically lock this, but we wanted to get this out to you for a limited time. We're doing this. Let them know this is valuable content. Number 4 could be a VIP event invitation. If you're doing an event and you're having a VIP after party, you are having a VIP after party, aren't you? If you're not, go watch the Creative B2B Marketing Course on events, and I talk all about that. But anyway, it could be a VIP event type of thing you're doing. It could be an invitation to a live podcast or when a recorded podcast is going to drop, or it could be an event to a webinar that you're going to do. It could even be a link to a webinar that is recorded. So a webinar you did in the past, but now you have an edited recording of it. You're ready to share that with the world. That could also be valuable to your prospect. Number 5 could be a video to a case study. So in this area over here where we have a link to a case study, that's a good idea, but it's a good idea to send a case study out later in the sequence after your prospect has become a little bit familiar with your brand, because quite honestly, they don't care about your credibility if they don't know you and they don't know if your solutions are a good fit with what's going on with them right now or sometime in the future. A case study doesn't matter to them. So if they haven't unsubscribed by your 3rd or 4th email sequence of valuable content, then it's time to do case study and talk about your credibility. And then after you have sent out 5 emails with links to interesting content and content that is actually valuable to your prospect, then go ahead, make number 6 email. You're asking for business. Hey, we think our solutions could be a good match with some of the pain points you're having or some of the opportunities you want to get. Here's how we fit with you. We'd like to have a quick chat to explore that. Your prospects are not stupid. They know you want their money. They know you want their time, okay? So respect that and just work with building your brand and building your own value and brand authority within your industry. Now let's think about this for a minute, okay? So let's do a little compare and contrast here. Your email on the left over here, your email sequence of just boom, boom, boom. You want to get these out. You want their time. You want to establish rapport, try to start a conversation. But these are pushy, and none of these, maybe one of them, is delivering value out of your whole sequence here, something that your prospect actually values. These are highly likely to get an unsubscribe with the first or second one that you send out. Because, as we mentioned before, if 95% of your audience isn't even interested in your solution right now, the best that you can do is have mental availability and establish brand value within the minds of the entire buyer group before they are ready to make a purchase. Your goal here is to get on the short list, a list of 3 to 4 different potential candidates for the solution when the buying time comes around, which might be 6 months later, 12 months later, who knows? Some companies continue this sequence for years, 2 or 3 years, before one of the ICP people within the company says, hey, wow, I think it's time to have a conversation with this particular company because their solution fits with what's happening with us right now. Don't feel like you're missing out on money or missing out on making a CTA when you start to distribute your content over here. Because on every single one of these emails that goes out, instead of asking for business, like saying, hey, how about a 10-minute meeting? How about a 5-minute meeting? Do you have time to chat this week? Instead of pushing all that low value crap, you're going to have a PS at the bottom of every single one of these that goes out. That PS is going to have a link to the PDF one-pager that is your solution brief. If you don't know about that, go watch the Creative Marketing video on that, where I talk about the solution brief. Every company on the planet should have a one-pager solution brief that is a quick summary of what you do. Basically, it's a summary of what you would have on your product page or your solution landing page that you're already doing Google ads for, LinkedIn ads, all that kind of stuff. You're going to have that content on a sheet, PDF file, that can be distributed within the buyer group. And that strategy, I do an entire module on the solution brief and why a solution brief is even more valuable than your website in a lot of cases. Because once your ICP discovers your solution brief and they look through it and they think your solution is a good idea, or they even keep your solution brief for maybe months at a time, and then somewhere down the road they dig it up again because the buying time has finally come up for that particular company, they will distribute that to other of the influencers or stakeholders within the buyer group. And that is very powerful because your credibility goes from 0 to 90% just immediately. You just shoot through the funnel and you don't have to have your other stakeholders go through your website, make phone calls, look at presentations, videos, other content, things like that before they start to have confidence in your brand. Because if an internal company employee has already kind of checked you out and they just send that solution brief around to the internal people in the company, that's what's going to make business happen fast, and your conversations are going to be smooth and positive with as much pre-selling as you can do. So this is the marketer's job, to help your salespeople have good conversations, help them be smooth, and have a smooth path to the sales process. Your sales team should not be left in the dark trying to do this sequence stuff over here. Marketing can do a lot to help this whole process happen, and it will build your brand for the future. It increases your pipeline. It's just solid brand building strategy all the way around. What this strategy does is build brand authority within your industry so that you don't chase prospects. Prospects start chasing you. You get more sustainable revenue. The more brand authority you build, the less you will need to spend on outreach marketing.